On this episode, we are getting my mad new Daihatsu ready to hit the street. Welcome to another episode of the best four-wheel driving channel on YouTube. Today we're actually doing half a four-wheel drive. We're doing a front-wheel drive Daihatsu. Martin bought this car for about $2,000. The wheels cost about $2,000. But I bought them at the same time. So I paid $4,000, but I don't want to admit I paid $4,000 for the car. So I've split it out in my head that I bought an expensive set of JDM Mazda Speed tri-spoke wheels and a $2,000 shitbox.
So he bought it for $4,000, but we're pretending it was $2,000 so we can sleep easy.
It was $2,000 worth of car.
Martin, what's wrong with it? It stinks.
Stinks. Mostly it just stinks.
It's leaking.
This was someone's daily. It's a bit rough, as you can see. Like, it's got some paint damage from bat shit and bird shit that's sat on there for way too long. But we're going to ignore that because it's not always about aesthetics with Daihatsus. It's about making sure it runs right. These little engines are 3-cylinder, 1-litre EJDEs, and they work really freaking hard. You have to rev them. The lifespan is not as long as a big lazy V8 or something like that. And so what usually happens is they end up a bit oily, a bit leaky, a bit stinky. Occasionally the odd service gets missed. Chances are it's been redlined in every single gear, every single time it's been driven, at least for the last few years of its life. This car has been through a few forum owners as well, is my understanding. Yes. So, you know, it's potentially been modified questionably.
The good news is, Marty, is all we've got to do is we're just going to pour some oil down the valves and let it sit overnight.
That'll fix it.
And it'll fix. You can't kill these engines.
You can't kill these engines.
You can't kill them.
You absolutely can't kill these engines. So what we are going to do, my number one aim is to chase down a stinky oil leak. As soon as it gets a little bit warm, it stinks like oil and you can see oil down there. So what I've done is I've got myself a full gasket kit. So that has basically everything, all the gaskets required to, including stuff that I don't need now, but I might need in the future. And the other thing I've also got is oil filter, some new spark plugs and air filter and the basic service stuff. But we've also got a couple of mods as well.
Oh, people.
Look at mods. We're going to get to the mods. I think we should just get it working, stop it from leaking.
But Martin,
and then get to the mods.
We can't claim to be the best four-wheel driving. Yes, we can. We are.
Four-wheel drive accessories.
We're the best four-wheel driving channel in the world. Now, if your Daihatsu doesn't have a portable stove in it,
what are you doing? What are you even doing?
This here is perfect for cooking on those long road trips.
Long road trips. And you might want to keep your stuff cold too. So we're installing a fridge, people. We're installing a full 12-volt cold as balls fridge into this Daihatsu.
It's the party wagon.
So
there's going to be hot food, cold drinks, hot dudes, cold chicks.
What? Cold
I don't
dicks? Know. Why? You don't put it in there, mate.
No.
You put your meat pie in.
Cold girls.
Oh.
What I was suggesting is that you would get in there, and think you're a hot guy, but then you would get cold response because no one actually cares, is what I was going for.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
And then I was trying to make that in relation to it having a fridge and a stove.
Should we fix my midnight purple GTR coloured Daihatsu Charade?
Oh, it is GTR coloured, isn't it?
GTR coloured, it is midnight purple.
Wow.
It's midnight purple. Isn't that sick?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty rough.
I kind of like it.
I do too.
You know what? It actually looks a lot like the Up, or the Up looks a lot like this in terms of like the rear window shape. Like it actually is, they're really comparable cars in a lot of ways.
Same idea.
Except this is shit.
Fix the stink, add the mods, do a high five, go for a drive.
Sounds good. Yeah. We're doing a big road trip, people. It's coming. It's going to be exciting. I'm pretty stoked about it actually, because particularly we're going to be having
hot food
and cold dicks.
First step, jack up your car. We're using a quick jack because it's so low, I can't actually get a jack under it easily. And these cars that have the solid rear beam axle thing, it's not a good idea to jack off the middle of that axle. It doesn't have like a diff or something under there that's strong. So this is usually the best way to do it if you've got something like this. Or you've got to put it up on ramps first and then try and jack it. But it's been lowered. It's got lowering springs in it and it looks like it's got aftermarket shocks in it. But the limited driving I've done so far, it's rough as guts. So maybe the shocks are stuffed, I don't know. What are you doing?
Martin, I'm going to get under there. I'm going to drop the oil and have a good sniff of it. And if there's no coolant in the oil, we're already winning.
Totally.
Already. And then we'll take a few photos of that. And then I suggest we drop all the coolant all over the floor and the roof and then fill it up and do it again.
Are you still having flashbacks to your Jimmy?
What? What are you talking about?
He's still having flashbacks.
We'll do the fluids. We're going to take off the wheels. We'll check out the brakes. Martin, it seems to have a little like vented-y, slotted-y brake things.
Yeah, someone's upgraded the brakes, but I don't know the condition of the pads. These ones look pretty worn out actually up the front here just by looking at this side.
Yeah.
But we'll take it off because this is also like road trip prep, man.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a long trip and you want your car to be reliable, especially if it's something new you haven't put much time on and much Ks on, this is the kind of thing you want to do. I think is a safe idea. Maybe throw new tyres at it if they look a bit worn out or a bit thrashed.
Have you got like the lock nut key thing?
No.
Cool.
Does it have lock nuts?
All of them are the like
fantastic.
weird things.
That's the best. That's the best thing ever.
Okay.
If we're lucky, there'll be a lock nut key in here. Come on.
There or
Come on.
in the boot. How do you pop
this?
the boot on these?
Down here, I think.
Can you do the doodle for me?
Oh, hang on.
Is there a doodle there?
Oh yeah, here.
Thank you, mate.
I can see a lock nut thing. Is that it?
Oh, the back of it has got
Yes, winning.
Martin, this is interesting back here. The stereo install is, this obviously vibrated around a lot, so they've just put a little bit of styrofoam there. Can you hold that up? Because that falls down otherwise.
Someone's made, but is that made
And
a boot
someone's
for?
made a little boot
I like the handles.
with like Bunnings covered handles on it.
Oh, it's got a spare.
And then it's got a spare. It's kind of fairly clean in there,
What
Martin.
colour did this used to be? Black. Do you think it was black?
Even that.
Yeah, it's black. Well, it would look pretty sick when it was black, actually.
Let's have a look under here, Martin, just in case. There could be
Dude, it's
something
old school
incredible.
super cheap auto jack there.
Oh, it is.
I wonder,
Super
if this
cheap
actually works.
If what works?
The speakers and the stereo. It'd be pretty
We
cool if
are
it
going to
does.
find out. I'm just
gonna
going to
test
see
it.
if there's anything of interest underneath here. I mean, that's already, you've got value that there's a spare in it. A lot of cars these days don't have
Check the
that.
condition of that. It's all there, man.
That's even got air in it. Martin, I reckon someone has checked this car before they've sold it to you,
I hope so.
which I think is kind of a rare thing.
Good on them.
But there's no food, frangers, or frogs.
You seem slightly disappointed.
Well, there's nothing to eat, but I guess we can still order food,
We'll have
can't
to
we?
order food instead. So Arobi sent us a new mini DAC, Arobi 1 HP thing, which is like, that was already pretty small, and this one's even littler and tougher and brushless. And it works mad with our JDM, what are these called? JDM
Doodle DACs.
impact socket DACs, doodle DACs, DAC doodles. Look at that.
There is so much oil under here, man.
I know it's gross, isn't it?
I mean, like it's on the exhaust. It's all like
Yep.
it's everywhere.
It has a significant oil leak.
So I'm going to drop whatever oil is still in the engine, but it's all over the exhaust. Like it's everywhere, man.
It's gross.
Like
Probably
it's-
should have degreased it first, but we'll just take it apart. It's the best way to sort it out.
See, this here to me is interesting. That the sump plug bolt is so like someone smashed it on so tight that it doesn't even look like a bolt anymore.
Doesn't look great, does it? This is similar to our the engine that was in our show car, our little green show car.
Yeah.
It's the same engine actually. It's an EJDE, but because it's a later model car, they did some stuff differently.
Good.
That's actually the airbox is actually the rocker cover. Looking at it, so you got to take the whole thing off.
Oh right.
Yeah, it's the whole rocker
So
cover.
have you got to take this off as well then? Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
And all of your like cable for your
Everything.
accelerator.
That's fine. And you know what? That might be why that oil leak was never fixed. I'm hoping, and judging by how much oil's around here, it's the rocker cover gasket.
Yep.
Because if it is, that's a very common leak. You replace that, your oil leak problems go away.
It must be substantial though, because under there it's not oily, as in there's
Residue.
oil, not just residue. I mean, there's like a melted candle of oil, like
right.
just all dribbling down.
It's happened to me a few times, because again, if the rocker cover's hard to get to, some cars it's really easy, but in Subaru life, they're on the side, they're really painful to get to, so people just leave them.
Yeah.
Because also, you go to a mechanic and get a quote on that, and it's really expensive, right, because of all the labour.
Yes.
And so you're in this position where you've got to take half the motor apart at the top. But luckily, these are super simple. There's not much going on here. And how this story normally goes is, leaks a ton of oil out of rocker cover, people either don't want to pay to get it fixed or can't or whatever, and you eventually run it dry oil because you forget to check it, then your motor blows, then you're up, and the price just keeps going up and up and up.
Well, it doesn't, because you just pour a bit of oil down the valves, leave it overnight.
And it frees up.
Yeah.
They never, you can't kill them.
Can't kill them, man.
Old, thrashed cars and oil leaks come hand in hand. Fortunately, a few basic rubber seals can sort it out, and it's well worth giving this a shot yourself. Just note down where everything goes when you explode it onto your garage floor.
Are you inserting the oil filter through the grill?
That's right, the grill that's meant to be there but is not there.
Hey, remember that little car we got in Turbos and Temples and you changed the oil filter through the front? I think on the Mira you changed the oil filter through the front too. Maybe it's like a K-car thing. Quick service.
Well, I mean, you're not meant to be able to do this. It's just because someone's done the
grill's broken.
The grill mod, which doesn't look great, let's be honest.
I feel a bit sorry for these charades because this is like, so there was L200 Mira, which is what my black one is, right? And then there was the L500, then the L700, which was our show car. And then this one just got called a L251. And then in Australia, Daihatsu had the smart idea of calling it a charade. Right. You know, it's like a marketing, it's a Mira.
Yeah.
This is a Mira. In Japan, it's a Mira. It's a turbocharged 660cc, like exact successor of what they used to have.
I love that you know all this.
We're getting to the point, and I want your opinion on the point because I care about it. I know that you might care
I
about it too.
I'm really interested that you care about it.
Why? Daihatsu Australia don't exist anyway, by the way, anymore, so we can't get sued for saying this. But why did they, in their wisdom, decide, no, let's just call it a charade when it's clearly not a charade?
Well, also, a charade is when you're pretending to be something you're not, which is my least favourite thing. It's why I love the up, because the up's just like, I mean, it's a dumb name, but it's like, I'm not pretending to be anything, I'm not, whereas charade, the game of charades is where some dickhead stands there and does this and all that other stuff, and then you've got to guess what it is.
Right.
Isn't it? I've never played charades,
So.
have you?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Have you?
I think that's what charades is, yeah. Isn't it?
Do you want to have a game?
Of charades?
Yeah.
Not really?
Okay.
Being that all the oil's come out of this engine already, this should be really clean in here. Don't you think? It would make sense.
But doesn't all the oil come out of here?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's fried. The engine's fried.
That's pretty bad, eh?
That's what our first Jimny engine looked like.
Oh, that's
Just caramelised.
That's just no love, man. That's no servicing, like zero, none.
Does that even have a gasket?
Yeah. Yes. I've never seen anything that bad. I mean, that's oil leaks because it's getting out to there.
Yeah.
Gee, that's disgusting. Do you know what hurts my feelings? Just putting it. Yeah, we're just going to do it. We're going to do it. We're not going to fix it. We're just
Yes,
going to.
we are.
Well, we're going to. Nothing's going to fix that. That's so foul. This motor's going to blow up, but it's okay. Look at the wear, dude. There's like particles of stuff on the actual camshaft. Like it's.
But see, I mean, nothing surprises me anymore,
No, I
Martin,
know,
after
I
the
know.
Jimny experience.
Look at that.
What's amazing is that it's actually running.
It's amazing. It's running. You're right.
Like that we could actually drive it.
Yeah, and we're going to drive it, aren't we? We're not going to swap.
Yeah.
We're not going to swap motors. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to make this work.
We have a spare motor
We do have a spare motor.
downstairs. Yep, we do.
I've had it for like 3 years. It actually came out of that little silver L251 that I used to own before Alan took it and put a big engine in it, which was also my engine.
Martin, I suggest what we do is I'm going to give you this
turbo
piece.
K3 VET that could have gone in here, but instead we should.
Your job, clean that up. My job, I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to scrape all that back. I'm going to get it all fancy. I'll make sure none of it gets in there. We'll put some oil in it. We'll do all your other mods. We'll put the stove in it. We'll cook a stew.
So it's next level. All right, let's clean it up. Wow.
While a certain amount of build-up is to be expected in an older engine, regular oil changes can prevent blockages that can result in metal-on-metal contact and a blown engine.
So a positive thing that's happened over recent history is a lot of workshop equipment that once upon a time was like out of reach to your average Joe is now cheap. And one of those things is these parts washers. Now, you can use your mum's dishwasher if you're really keen and you've got a good relationship, and you can stick this disgusting thing in a dishwasher and it will basically do the same thing. This is just a parts washer. All you do is put some soapy water or some stuff like degreaser in the bottom and press the button, and it just gives you a little squirty thing, and you can get your brushes in there and clean it. It's also a bit more environmentally friendly than just hosing degreaser straight down the drain, because it's all contained. You can sort of reuse it and recycle it and dispose of it a little bit more responsibly. But it's mad because you can just squirt soap at everything, give it a bit of a brush, and that'll come up basically brand new. And all the schmutz just falls down into the bottom of this thing. Look at the spring just dangling up there in the air. Far out.
Yeah, that's most likely a chopped spring installed for maximum lowness on these mad tri-spoke wheels.
Now, possibly people, in this situation, if your engine's this bad, like, because we've experienced this once before with a Jimny engine, right? Although we know this thing runs. So we have a running engine. We know it hasn't been loved. We know they're old as the hills. So potentially you could ring a wrecker, a good wrecker, and go, how much for an EJ DE out of a Charade? And they've probably got 20 of them sitting on the shelf, and they're probably not worth much. So maybe, rather than spending $500 on all the parts and all the crap to replace it, you just slap another engine in.
Yeah.
Especially because it's not hard in this car. Like, it's not that hard. It comes out from the bottom on a K-frame, you unplug the fuel, you unplug the drive shafts, and you unplug the shifter and the 2 plugs, and you drop it out the bottom.
Yep.
Still
Is
a big
there a
job,
better
I guess,
engine
but
that you could put in that's still going to be just as easy to transplant?
Same as what we did in the Blue Turd.
Yeah, okay.
K3 VE. And the best one is the YRV turbo engine, which is what Alan
They're
Woody-
harder to get now, though, aren't
That's
they?
what Alan Woody ended up doing. Well, actually, me and Benny and Al put that in the silver one of these that we had briefly, and then Al went to town on it with big turbos and things. It was a weapon. But these engines are not weapony at all. These are just get to the shops engines.
Thrashed.
On a vehicle with an unknown service history, a spark plug change is well worth it while we've got everything apart, especially because we only need enough plugs for half a V6 engine.
All right, so spark plugs are in. Now, Marty, we just got to work out what's happening with... Are we just gasket, throw it back together, move on?
Well, I've tried Super Cheap, and I've tried online, and I've even tried Toyota Australia, who distribute Daihatsu parts, except they don't anymore, and you
right.
can't get the gaskets.
Oh, okay.
You cannot get the rocker cover gaskets for it. So we don't really have a choice. We might have to recycle them we've got, just give it a birthday,
Yep.
clean it up, maybe slaz it, more than I'd like. But reality is, this engine isn't going to last as long as the gasket that goes in anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going to survive to its next gasket, because it is common for these things to wear out bearings and stuff. As I said, they're just revved hard their whole life.
Yep.
And so they eventually, and if their oil isn't looked after, and it hasn't been, it's a recipe for disaster because it just wears everything out. Because
Yes.
that is what happens. That is where, in the bottom of your engine, that amount of dirt goes in your bearings, wears stuff out, the oil doesn't cushion properly, and then your engine blows. And you're like, why is my engine blown?
Yep.
Well, that's why, because you didn't change the oil.
That's an indication of
It's
neglect.
amazing how much abuse an engine will take if you do change the oil and
Yes.
keep it clean. It'll
Yep.
just keep going.
So the good news is we can't get the parts we need.
Not even Toyota Australia will help us. There's just no help. That's it. I mean, the car's 15 years old, so can't exactly be surprised. And it's a car no one cares about, really.
I mean, I would just think, I wanted to choose my words carefully, but if it was a 15-year-old Mini or a 15-year-old Beetle or a 15-year-old anything that people cared about, you actually would be able to get all that
Oh,
stuff.
there'd be tons of parts for it.
It's
Yeah,
just
you're right.
that people don't care about this.
No.
Why?
Well, they weren't very...
Why don't they care,
This
Mum?
particular model wasn't that popular anyway. It wasn't actually as popular as the one before it that we had, the show car and the little red car. They were way more popular than this.
My donation to your cause, Martin, is these wheel nuts here
Gross.
that are just rusty and absolutely festy. I'm going to donate
Oh, cool.
these ones that came with the wheels for my up because mine doesn't have studs.
Oh, of course. It's got
So
bolts, doesn't it? Wheel
you
bolts.
can have them, Martin, as a little donation.
Thanks, man.
And then what I suggest we do now is we kick the tunes and cut to an exciting montage of this getting cleaned up and fixed before we move on to the real showstopper, which is the stove in the boot. Now, most people are out there going, you want to install a sub in a boot? We've already done a video on that. But do you want to install a stove in your boot? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And we're going to show you how to do it.
Just before we kick it, I want to just show you something that I don't understand that's weird. Maybe someone out there can answer for me. I just want to draw your attention to here. This is an oil passage. This is like a variable cam looking thing, like it's got adjustment on the other side. This is a blanking plate, and this is a blanking plate. Now here is where on the back of the cam, it's got extra room where you'd normally have trigger wheels, right? Like trigger to get your cam position. And here is where you'd normally have a valve that adjusts the oil pressure, or a solenoid that turns oil pressure feed on and off to adjust your cam timing. They've put all that hardware there and then blanked it off and just said, no, you don't get it. You're not allowed.
But is there a version of this that they do get it?
The EJVE for variable whatever. But why? Look how much, it would be one solenoid and one sensor and a few different wires on an ECU, and bang, you have variable valve timing and you would actually be fast.
It's more money, man.
That is the difference between your up chopping this and this not chopping your up.
This here, though, is a mechanical equivalent of different tunes in cars.
Yeah.
Audi TT versus Golf R versus GTI with the EA888 platform, like different tunes in them, different power. Like they've just gone, what do you call that again?
It's right there.
It's like when you...
Crippleware.
Yeah, That's basically
It's
what it
crippleware.
is.
But why? And you couldn't buy one that had it in Australia. So it's like again like the Australian importers went, how much extra profit margin do we get if we take off the variable?
How
cam
much
control?
more servicing? How much more warranty? You know, it's just a packaging
Maybe.
thing. But that is. I mean, maybe we need to unwrap that banana at some point,
I think so.
or just throw it.
Off a cliff. So I cannot get a rocker cover gasket for this particular model. It uses an EJDE, which is the same as the L700 show car, red car that we had, but it's different because of this weird arrangement with the airbox being the rocker cover gasket. It's just not common. There wasn't a lot of these cars around, so parts places just do not have them. Normally I would order one and wait a week and then we'd come back to it, except we're leaving tomorrow. We're leaving in 18 hours. So I'm gonna dodge it by adding Celastic to here. Don't do this. I mean, don't do it. Get a rubber gasket, it'll work better. This has to survive one road trip, which is why I'm doing it this way. It requires 24 hours to drive. We'll already be 400 k's into our trip in 24 hours, so I hope it actually drives a little bit quicker than that. This is the only gasket maker I could get as well. There's faster gasket maker, but none of that around either. I did manage to get brake pads, however, which is awesome because there's about 1 mil of brake pad on the front of that. So I'm going to swap the brake pads as well. So it's not all fails. We're winning a little bit. Let's slaz this thing.
It turns out the rocker cover and airbox hybrid is actually kind of crap, and a common upgrade on these engines is to swap in the older style metal covers, which prevents the constant leaks.
I hope that works. And you get one go at it. It seems to have hit home. No, bolt it down and cross our fingers. Coil packs back inside the airbox. It's not going to stop being weird for a while, I don't think. But they are going back in, and then I've got to run the wiring loom back inside the airbox also, and then I can put a nice fresh new filter on it because the old one was so trashed. Old filter is super hammered. New one looks nice and clean. Oh, both sides, look at it. Yuck.
An essential check before doing any road trip should always be your brakes, especially on something a bit thrashed or unknown and new like this thing. I'm going to suck out the brake fluid in the reservoir and then pump through some fresh Castrol React .4 fluid. A new set of front brake pads rounds this out, along with visually inspecting the rest of the system for any leaks or weirdness. The rear brakes are drums, which on these things usually lasts the life of the car. With the brake system all sorted, we can now throw in some fresh engine oil that has our faces on the bottle for an extra bonus 2 kilowatts.
All right, Martin.
Getting road trip ready, mate.
Well,
So far it's Mighty Car maintenance. And
Yes.
so far it's Mighty Car. There aren't no parts for this.
what I can say though, with absolute certainty, is there is more than 350 mils of oil in it.
Well, that's good.
So we're already ahead.
It's more
All
than
we're
it's ever
doing
had.
is winning, Martin.
Well-
All we do is win.
Okay. Well, this elastics that should be a rubber gasket is now drying, so we can't start it just yet because it's too fresh.
Yep.
But in terms of road trip readiness, I checked the weather and it's going to be raining.
Yes. It's
So-
always raining when we do a road trip.
Absolutely. Even when we go out to like one of the driest parts of the world,
Yes.
it's still raining. But I have ordered some new wiper blades, which should be here
wow,
soon,
they're crusty.
because that is one of the most important things. If it is bucketing rain, you just
Yep.
need good new wiper blades. So it's one of those boring things that you go to a mechanic and they're like, "Want some new wiper blades for $80?" You can just get wipers from a part shop for like $10, which is what I've done. So we're going to put them in after
Awesome.
I evacuate the area.
Why? We've used these coolant testing strips for quite a while. I've never seen one come up so bad.
Neither have I. Ever.
Never. That one and pretty much that one.
So even though it looks green, it's actually doing a whole lot of nothing.
Which is funny because I just said to you the coolant's the only thing that looks good.
looks good.
I'll just stick a testing strip in there just in case. It's not doing well at all. It's not doing shit.
No, it's vastly reduced, which just means it's old.
All right, so this here is a 50-50 mix of the coolant with water, fresh coolant. That there, ladies and gentlemen, is what that should be looking like. Instead, it's that. So if we look here, that is showing pretty much as that colour, which means absolutely perfect. That there is unsatisfactory. So you can't trust the colour.
We're going to drain it. It's the right thing to do. We're going to drain it. Because it's really easy. Because on this car, it's really easy to do. It's just open one little tap and then just dribble straight into a bucket. So it's not like it's a massive deal to drain it.
I think it's a good idea, Martin.
For a bit of water and coolant.
I think it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And I think this car deserves it.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll take the cap off, mate, and we'll increase our flow. You ready?
Yep. I did it. See you in 5 minutes.
All right, so I am just reinstalling this little piece of our grill here so that if we do run into any wildlife out on the road, any kangaroo guts and things, instead of just going all the way through and damaging our pristine engine, they will be protected with some cable ties.
And I'm installing the funnel bucket and I've put a bit of water in it. I'm going to release that and just sort of flush through a bit of fresh water towards the end of this radiator. If you were going to go crazy, you'd pull all the radiator hoses off, the thermostat out, flush everything while it's cold. But I'm not going to do that.
I thought you were about to give a reason. If you needed to, you'd do all of this. But the reason we're not going to today, no, we're just not doing it.
Yeah, the other thing you can do, because my reasoning is I don't want to cover the entire floor with coolant because we've just had a little bit too much. That's a bit too close to the bone. So yeah, we're not going to do that today. What's your feeling on white wheels?
I think they look good on this car. I'm usually not a fan, but I think they kind of look all right now.
Kind of works with the purple because it's a bit out there anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just too dark if everything's just dark, dark, dark.
I think they're powder coated. It looks like they've been powder coated. Like it's quite a thick coating.
Yeah.
It's quite tough, but also this car must have sat around for a while because there's like sort of like rust juice in the wheel studs.
Yeah, I can see that down here.
Pretty gross.
Anyone who has owned a K-Class car knows that finding mad wheels that fit properly is hard, and I think this thing looks excellent.
All right, so the maintenance part of this car is done. We're actually leaving on this road trip tomorrow. We've got somewhere very special to go. You, of course, will be coming along with us on the adventure. But the next thing we need to do, because this is the best four-wheel driving channel on YouTube, is we're going to show you guys how to install some auxiliary power in the boot of your car so that you can run.
For accessories.
Yeah, accessories.
It's all about accessories when you're into four-wheel driving,
Yep.
even if it's half four-wheel driving like this.
That's right. Like a stove, like a fridge.
Lights,
so we're going to do a whole...
charge your accessories that you might use on the road when you're by yourself.
Yep. I don't think you need to charge them. I don't think. No.
Oh, okay, cool.
Also, a inflator for inflating your bed or your friend or anything else that you've got when you're out on the road.
Why are you laughing?
What?
Why are you laughing?
Inflate anything you want.
Inflate whatever you want.
I'm not judging.
A mattress.
Yeah. Inflate a mattress that looks like a person. If that's what you're into, I don't mind. I have no interest at all. The point is that we're going to actually do a little instructional that shows you how to do that. And that'll appear here when it's ready to go. But now we're just going to magically fap into the mattress.
Mattress?
Mattress
that looks like a person that you inflate.
I mean,
Why would it look like a person?
So it's comfortable to lie
Oh,
on.
because you lie on exactly the same way that it mirrors you.
Yes.
It's like lying on a mirror.
Yeah.
Doesn't have another name?
Lying on a mirror.
Yeah.
A mirror?
Yeah.
I don't know it's happening.
No, me neither.
I do know it's happening.
I'm so lost.
Wasting the internet.
Yeah,
again.
sorry.
Hashtag wasting
All the time.
internet.
So sorry.
So, when it's up, there'll be a video up there showing you how to do the power. It's a separate video, so I'm not going to show you in this video, but by the time we click the edit button on our edit machine, click, 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 then it'll be done. And if you want to see how we did it, click that thing or check down there. And if it's not there yet, it's because we haven't uploaded it yet, but it will be there soon. All right?
All right, good.
Let's put the fridge and the stove in.
Yeah, I'm keen. Super keen.